All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me here for today's trending topic class. My name is Charlotte Scheid, and I'm one of the Giant Company dietitians. Happy National Cheeseburger Day for all of you cheeseburger lovers. I know for myself, my family and I love a cheeseburger every once in a while, sometimes once a month, but we love a good cheeseburger. So that is our topic for today. So before we get started on National Cheeseburger Day, I want to hear from all of you. How often that you're eating a cheeseburger. So how often do you eat a cheeseburger? So once a week, one time a month, a few times a year, or maybe never? And if it's never, maybe this class today will inspire you to eat one today. Okay, give everybody a couple seconds to answer that. So I know for myself, we probably eat a cheeseburger at least once a month. So let's see what all of you said. So it looks like a couple of you are one time a week, then a lot of you one time a month, a few times a year, and then a couple of you never. But we have a really good cheeseburger recipe today that's a little bit of a different take on a cheeseburger that I think you all love. So thanks everybody for answering that question. Alrighty, so National Cheeseburger Day. So today's the day. So National Cheeseburger Day is a United States food holiday that's celebrated on September 18th every year. So it's a fun, unofficial food holiday. And what it does is it, of course, honors the classic cheeseburger that was originally crafted in the 1920s. So how we celebrate this holiday, this fun food holiday, we can celebrate at home by grilling a cheeseburger or trying a creative burger recipe. And a lot of times you'll find today there'll be a couple restaurants that may have a special menu or special deals. So you'll definitely have to check it out if you want to celebrate having a cheeseburger today. But there's a lot of great ways to celebrate at home with creating a cheeseburger yourself. So the nutritional benefits of a cheeseburger, a lot of times I think cheeseburgers get a bad rap, but especially if you focus in on, ways to make it a little bit of a better for you cheeseburger, it's definitely very nutritionally beneficial, which we'll go over in a couple of, another slide will even go into more depth. But first of all, lean beef. The beef that I'm using in today's recipe is 93% lean, so it's an excellent source of protein. So normally for about 4 ounces, 3 to 4 ounces, which usually like fits in the size of your palm, is about 20 grams of protein. So definitely an excellent source of protein. And we know that protein is, of course, essential for muscle repair, immune function, and satiety. So helps you to feel fuller longer. By adding cheese, this can, of course, give us additional protein and calcium, which is really beneficial for bone health. Hamburger bun, if you're choosing a whole grain bun, this, of course, is going to have more fiber in it, which is important for our digestive health, gut microbiome. Also helps to provide steady energy, so helps us, again, paired with the beef and protein, helps us to feel fuller longer. And then you can incorporate a bunch of different types of veggies. Veggies are, of course, still in season, so tomatoes, lettuce, even using like darker leafy greens is good choice. Red onion, cucumbers, this all contributes to vitamins A, C, K, potassium, and a variety of different antioxidants as well. So of course you can load up on the veggies is also a good strategy to make our cheeseburger even more nutritionally beneficial. So these are some products I wanted to go over for Cheeseburger Day. So next time you're in a store, definitely check them out if you're trying to craft your own cheeseburger. So the first one being the spring mix. So I've said in a lot of different classes, I love these containers because they're resealable, so they stay really fresh. So we have like spinach, arugula, spring mix. I'll be using the spring mix in today's recipe. Always like those for either if you're creating some type of cheeseburger bowl or whatnot. Those are always a good lettuce variety to choose from. Also, I wanted to put on here our Greek non-fat yogurt, the plain, which we're also going to be using in the recipe, a cheeseburger bowl recipe for today. So this is a really good substitute for mayonnaise if you're looking for even more of a pop of protein. It's a great way to kind of substitute if you have a recipe that has mayonnaise in it. I also wanted to put our rainbow slaw. This has let's see, broccoli and cabbage and carrot and that type of thing, but that's a great topping for a cheeseburger or just a burger in general. If you're looking for more of a kind of like a Mexican or whatever recipe, the pico de gallo is a great one to add on to a burger, even a cheeseburger. And then, of course, we have guacamole as well, which is also a good topping. So you're looking for products, trying to think outside the box, these are ones that you can check out in store. And these are cheese products for, of course, Cheeseburger a day. There's a variety to choose from. So normally our Swiss cheese, if you're concerned, more about sodium, usually the Swiss cheeses have a little bit less sodium. We can also do provolone, pepper jack if you like a little bit of heat. I really like our pepper jack cheese is really good because I definitely like a little bit of a spice on a cheeseburger every once in a while. And then of course sharp cheddar is a good one too. But those are just a couple of the flavors of the many different ones that we have. But when you're thinking about cheeseburger, kind of switch it up for maybe doing, if you are always doing like American cheese, cheddar cheese, try some other ones as well. A lot of different flavor combinations that you can create. And then ways to make a cheeseburger. So we're going to be crafting a cheeseburger bowl today, which is a little bit of kind of like a deconstructed cheeseburger. But you can also do a variety of ways to make a cheeseburger. So you can make one in a lettuce or wheat wrap. So that's going to be kind of a popular one. So instead of using a hamburger roll, you can use a wrap. So again, a wheat wrap, whole grain wrap, or just like lettuce. You can do a quesadilla. So if you have 2 tortillas, you can put some ground beef. Or even chunks of beef or whatnot, some cheese, onion, pickles, and you can cook it that way into a quesadilla. Sometimes this can be one that the kids will like too and they can help with. You can do a kebab. So on a skewer, you can either create, before you put it on the kebab or skewer, create little mini patties and you can put it on the skewer that way, or you can assemble it separately. So you can do, so if you have, when you have a skewer, you can put on the bread cube, some lettuce, the burger patty, cheese cube, pickle, and cherry tomato as well. So kebabs are a great one. I would think also they kind of make for really cute, like little appetizer if you want to do something like that. But that's another way that you can celebrate today being cheeseburger day with a kebab. If you like pita pockets, you can put all the ingredients into a pita pocket and toast it in the oven, or you don't even have to toast it if you don't want to, but so you can put your cheeseburger ingredients into a pita pocket. And then of course you can create a bowl, which we'll be doing today with our lettuce, ground beef. That's kind of like a deconstructed, cheeseburger way. So a lot of different ways to make a cheeseburger from your standard, on a hamburger bun. And these are some cheeseburger combinations. So I know, so like with the first one, so the American, so that's probably one that I would probably my go-to, and probably a lot of us would, it would be our go-to as well. So we have cheddar, lettuce, tomato, pickles, ketchup, and mustard. So that's usually the standard also if you go to a restaurant. So that's one combination. You could do a mushroom Swiss. So mushroom Swiss, you can saute some mushrooms, put a little bit of Swiss cheese and some garlic sauce. If you like bacon blue cheese, some crumble blue cheese, which I love a good crumble blue cheese, brings out a lot of flavor. You can put on some bacon or arugula for a little bit of a peppery taste to it, and then balsamic glaze is another way you can kind of create a cheeseburger. If you like that caprese, so mozzarella, which mozzarella tends to be a little bit less in sodium as well. You do the burger, mozzarella, tomato slices, some basil leaves, and pesto is a good one. If you like the Greek flavor combinations, you can incorporate some feta, chop up some cucumber, tomato, red onion, and then tzatziki sauce, which is that cucumber yogurt sauce. You can do a Tex-Mex, so that pepper jack cheese that we went over a couple slides ago. Pepper jack cheese is really good, so you can put that on a burger with some salsa guacamole. You could also do a barbecue ranch, so smoked Gouda, which is a really good cheese, some onion barbecue sauce, and ranch dressing. So again, if you're normally doing, your standard American cheeseburger, you can see here there's a lot of different combinations that you can, craft and put together, and a lot of great ways to do it, especially to celebrate today. All right, so we went over a little bit about the nutritional benefits of a cheeseburger. So this is, again, just how to make a better for you cheeseburger. So to start, some lean ground beef, so doing 90% or higher. So less of that fat content, saturated fat that we do not want. Think about portions. So sometimes when we go to restaurants, the portion size is absolutely huge, but we really only need, about 4 to 5 ounces, or kind of what's in the palm of our hand, the size will give us that 20 to 25 grams of protein that we want. Think about a whole grain bun. So we know this adds fiber and satiety. The buns that we're using today for one bun have 3 grams, and that's a whole grain bun that we're using. So that gives us some good fiber. and load up on the produce. So if you haven't done this before, if you're normally doing just like lettuce, tomato, kind of think outside the box a little bit, but incorporate maybe darker leafy greens, some onion, avocado is a good one, gives a nice creamy texture, some spinach, you can even do grilled vegetables for a little bit of extra vitamins and minerals. And then when we're rethinking sauces, if you're using mayonnaise a lot, maybe try a recipe with some plain Greek yogurt for a little bit more protein. And then cheeses, if you're concerned about the fat in them or even sodium, you can always choose reduced fat varieties or even reduced sodium varieties as well. So a lot of different ways to make a better for you cheeseburger. So this is our featured recipe. So this is on our Savory website database. Very good recipe and a kind of a unique way to make a cheeseburger on this special National Cheeseburger Day. So these are our ingredients. So 2 whole wheat hamburger buns. So I will say before class what I did and what is in the recipe too, which the directions are on the next slide. But what I did is I took 2 whole wheat hamburger buns and I cut them into kind of 1-inch pieces. Actually, let me grab the baking sheet here. So you can see here, I think you can see this here. So I cut my 2 buns into 1-inch pieces, and then I put some olive oil and then garlic powder on them, and I put them in the oven at around 425 for about no more than 10 minutes or so, tossing kind of halfway. So I usually like so these are kind of like larger croutons, and I forgot what I was going to say about that. But anyways, so these are kind of our buns, our toasted buns that we're going to be putting into the bowl. So I did that before class. So again, cut them up into 1-inch pieces and then not roasting them, we're like putting them in the oven at 425 for about 10 minutes and then tossing them in between. So that's kind of our hamburger buns for our bowl, which you can see in the picture is kind of in that top portion. So again, I just added to the bread some olive oil and garlic powder. I also did before class, I already cooked my beef. So I have 93% lean ground beef right here. So that took about 8 to 10 minutes. Of course, you just want to cook it thoroughly. So I did that. So we're also going to mix together some ketchup. The recipe has reduced fat mayonnaise, but we're going to substitute it for plain Greek yogurt, a little bit more of that protein, and then sweet relish and apple cider vinegar. We're going to mix it, and that's going to become that drizzle for the top of our bowl. And then we're also going to top it with some shredded cheddar cheese, some cherry tomatoes, and then dill pickles, which are already cut up as well. So for this recipe, so I believe this is 48 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber. So this creates 4 bowls or 4 servings for this recipe. And so these are just it says preheat to 350, so I did 425, but however hot your or depending on your oven or whatnot, you may want to go a little bit lower, a little bit higher for the bread. But you can see here you can preheat it to 350 for those hamburger bun pieces. So these are some of the ingredients, not the ingredients, the directions, but let's go ahead and get started on the bowl. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We will get started. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so hopefully everybody can see me here. So again, I already cooked my ground beef, and so here's the bowl I'm going to put it in. So it gives a nice display of what it will look like after. So the first thing I'm going to do, so I have my on the vine cherry tomatoes. So you probably need, I don't know, so probably only need about 3 or 4 of these or whatnot. But we're going to go ahead. So I have a lot of stuff on my counter here. So we're just going to kind of cut these up just into split pieces. You don't necessarily have to use cherry tomatoes. You can even just use like a regular tomatoes, but just enough tomatoes so you just get like a have a portion of it in your cheeseburger bowl. So I probably only need 4 of these. All right. Actually, let me just do one more. Just because I like a good tomato. So again, just cutting these up into smaller pieces. All right, so I'm going to set this over here. I'm going to bring back my bowl. So again, this recipe gives us about 4 bowls or 4 servings. You can see this is my bowl. So the first thing I'm going to do for my cheeseburger bowl um, is put in my lettuce. And so the recipe says you can just use regular lettuce, but I'm going to use our Nature's Promise spring mix because again, I just really like the what am I trying to say? I like the resealable package so it stays fresh. So again, the spring mix, trying to see the exact what's exactly in it. So as organic baby greens, so the red and green chard, and then some arugula as well. So we're gonna go ahead and just do a layer right on the bottom. All right, so just like that. And again, the darker leafy greens will give us even a little bit more nutritional benefit. So I'm also going to put on my ground beef, just right on top of my greens. So you do like a half of a cup or so, just right on top. I guess half a cup to a cup. All right, so that looks good. So I just put our ground beef right on top of our greens. All right, so next we are going to whisk together our drizzle. So for the drizzle, we are going to do, so we want to do a half cup of ketchup. So I will say I'm using our Nature's Promise ketchup. It is at 50% less sodium than regular ketchup, but we're going to do a half of a cup. Let me get my half a cup. So again, this the dressing that I'm making would be for 4 bowls, so not just one. Because I know this looks a lot of ketchup. Right, so we're gonna do half of a cup of ketchup. We're gonna do a 4th cup of our yogurt, or you can do mayonnaise if you like. So I'm just using our our brand Greek non-fat yogurt that's plain. So this will just give us a little bit more protein. So we'll do a 1/4 of a cup. Okay, so that looks good. We're also going to be putting in 1 tablespoon of sweet relish. I don't know if anybody likes relish on their burger. That would be another way to put it in. All right, so we're going to do 1 tablespoon. So I'm just using our brand sweet relish. So we'll do 1 tablespoon. And then 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. So I have just our brand apple cider vinegar right here. We'll just do 2 teaspoons. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mix this together. So again, this will be for all, this would be for all 4 bowls. So again, what's in here? We have our ketchup, the yogurt, the sweet relish, and then apple cider vinegar. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this to the side. I'm gonna bring back my bowl with my lettuce and ground beef. We're gonna put in our tomatoes that we chopped up. So again, you can either use a cherry tomato or a regular tomato or whatever tomato that you would like. So we're just gonna kind of go around and kind of do different sections. So we have our tomato. We're also gonna be putting a sharp cheddar cheese and really do whatever cheese that you would like. It's about maybe a 1/4 of a cup or so. All right. So we're also going to be doing our dill pickles. So the dill pickles that I'm using, you do whatever pickles that you would like, but I'm just going to do boar's head. So I took, say about, I don't know, 1/2, 1 1/2 of those, and I just kind of cut them up into smaller pieces. So we're gonna put this right next to the cheese. And then on this side, we are going to put on our croutons or like the hamburger buns that I already toasted. So you can see so what it looks like. Let me go ahead and grab. Let's see here. So these are our crouton. So I usually like mine just a little bit more crispy. So we're gonna put these right on the side. And then we're gonna do our drizzle. All right, so I'm just gonna take a spoon. I'm just gonna do, so let's hear this what it looks like beforehand. I'm just gonna do like a drizzle right over it. So again, this can be another unique way to celebrate Cheeseburger Day. So it's almost like a deconstructed cheeseburger. All right. So this is our cheeseburger bowl to celebrate National Cheeseburger Day. So just like that. And there's so many different varieties too. What you can even do is if you are having a get together or whatnot, you can do kind of like a bar area. So everybody can be putting in the lettuce and ground beef, and then you can have a variety of different toppings, including different dressings, and everybody can kind of create their own bowl. But this is one version of how to create a cheeseburger bowl. All right.